Hello everyone, Ace here, and today I've decided to talk a little bit more about some video game history, and in the process answer the question, what exactly made Secret Weapons Over Normandy great? First released all the way back in 2003, Secret Weapons Over Normandy is a relatively obscure title these days. However, it has nevertheless managed to gain a faithful following, and has gained a reputation for being a hidden gem, or as one critic put it, quote, one of the best kept secrets of the year, unquote. But to find out why this is the case, let's talk about what exactly made the game great. And the first thing that made Secret Weapons Over Normandy great was the developer studio behind it, specifically Totally Games, a studio that focused almost exclusively on the subject of flight sims, with their previous releases including titles such as the Star Wars X-Wing franchise and Star Trek Bridge Commander, as well as, perhaps most notably for this discussion, a trilogy of flight sims set in World War II from the late 80s and early 90s, titled Battlehawks 1942, Their Finest Hour, The Battle of Britain, and Secret Weapons of the Luftwaffe, respectively. Considering that in Secret Weapons Over Normandy, the player takes on the role of a pilot of the Battlehawk Squadron, fighting German secret weapons over Normandy, it becomes quite clear that this latest entry was in fact a reboot of that original trilogy of sorts. But the point I need to drive home is the fact that Secret Weapons Over Normandy was made by a studio that very much knew what they were doing with the subject material at hand, as well as how to make an air combat game in the first place, resulting in a game with a mirror shine polish as far as gameplay is concerned. With that in mind, let's move on to the second thing that made this game great, that being how it delved far more into the topic of wonder weapons of World War II than other games at the time, which was a big deal considering that the early 2000s was the golden age of World War II themed games. But there is more to this that I need to elaborate on. Yes, other games had in fact covered the subject of wonder weapons during World War II. In fact, as I've already mentioned, Secret Weapons of the Luftwaffe did exactly that back in the early 90s. However, the subject of wonder weapons in World War II was vast enough through the sheer number of them that there was still plenty of relatively untapped material to work with, at least as far as video games are concerned. And when it came to air combat games set in World War II, the simple truth is that Secret Weapons Over Normandy was the top choice for several years when it came to the amount of wonder weapons you could play with the only real competition ultimately ending up being Blazing Angels 2, a game that was a full console generation later. What I mean to say is that not only did Secret Weapons Over Normandy have plenty of the more obvious and famous wonder weapons for you to play with, like the ME-262 and the 163 Comet, but it also gave you plenty of more obscure things, including wonder weapons that weren't necessarily German in nature, such as the Flying Pancake, for example. It also gave you plenty of prototype weapons as well from the war, such as the British bouncing bombs, as well as various flavors of guided munitions, which again only helped further make the game stand out amongst its peers when it came to World War II air combat games. So that is another reason why the game is great, but a third reason I do need to bring up is the music composer. Secret Weapons Over Normandy is one of those titles whose music was composed by the one and only Michael Giacchino, the man behind the music for the original Call of Duty games, the original Medal of Honor games, as well as Mercenaries Playground of Destruction, all of which are games that have fantastic music. And Secret Weapons Over Normandy is no exception. The orchestra provides a suitable amount of weight to the music, making everything feel all that more epic, which is appropriate given the setting, and the end result is that you're still having a blast even during some of the more quieter moments within the game. So that would be most of the pieces of the puzzle. However, I believe there is one additional thing I need to bring up exclusively for the Xbox version of the game. For you see, the original Xbox version of Secret Weapons Over Normandy had a rather unique feature exclusive to it and it alone, that being free DLC, which included of course new missions as well as new aircraft and new skins. So far so standard, and it is pleasant to hear that this is free DLC, but what I believe makes this stand out is just how out of their way LucasArts went to make sure that as many people could get access to this DLC as possible, at a time when internet connection wasn't necessarily universal. LucasArts made sure, for example, that as an alternative you could go to your local supermarket, find the preview Xbox stand, and transfer the DLC from the preview Xbox to a memory card that you brought with you. Another alternative was to simply get a copy of the official Xbox magazine and get the DLC from a demo disc that came with the magazine. Now, to be fair, there were other companies that did similar things, but generally not with free DLC that had as much content as Secret Weapons Over Normandy, nor do they appear to have put as much effort into getting that content out as publicly available as possible. And yes, I know this is a small little tidbit, but nevertheless, I do believe it is worth bringing up whenever discussing the accomplishments of Secret Weapons Over Normandy. With that all in mind, this has been Ace, and I hope you'll agree when I say that Secret Weapons Over Normandy is great.
Good riddance, Krieger.
The dumped battlehawks! And that Americana! Hey!
Alright, we've got them! Now our boys can take the beaches! On to Berlin. Somehow I don't think we've seen the last of Krieger and Nemesis.